Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Ask BQ on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Hi Navneet, and I'm Alex Matthew. Welcome back after the midweek market holiday. If you've got questions on equity, then this is the perfect show for you. You can send those queries to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-454-04141 or mail us on askbq@bloombergquint.com.
All right, and before we get to the individual queries on the show, let's quickly tell you what's happening with the markets. And afternoon is looking much better than the morning trade, at least. We've recovered majority of the losses. And by the way, this is for the second straight day. Index went closer to the mark of 200-day moving average at about 11,250. And there has been sharp recovery for the second time, which has come in once. It happened on Tuesday and second time today. 11,350 thereabouts is where Nifty currently trades. Sensex down about 80 points in trade. Pull up the Bank Nifty as well. I think this is the one which continues to reel under pressure, 130 points lower. However, it's off the low point, but still trading below the 200-day moving average. The broader markets will come up on your screen. The mid-cap as well as the small-cap indices are marginally now trading in the positive territory. And the breadth, let's see how that's looking, because when we started trade today, the breadth was clearly in favor of the declines. And currently, it is still in favor of declines, though the gap is narrowing there. In terms of what's doing well, I just want to pull up India Volatility Index before we proceed. The VIX was up about 6 to 7% on Tuesday, but remember the markets have recovered, but VIX is still trading in the positive territory. It may not be a very comforting sign for the bulls. So what's recovered today are the Nifty constituents, which are actually beaten down stocks. So look at stocks like Yes Bank, Z Entertainment, Tata Motors. All of them are registering good gains. Remember, Yes Bank was down nearly 23% on Tuesday. And in terms of contribution, which are the stocks which is lending support today, so that's ICICI Bank, ITC, BPCL are the ones which are trading in positive territory alongside heavyweight Reliance Industries. But dragging once again, it is the financial space, the banking space. HDFC Bank, HDFC, Kotak Mahindra Bank are the ones which is dragging the index lower. Sectoral gainers are media and realty after the recovery that we've seen for Z's. The Nifty Media Index is trading in the positive territory. And on the losing side, metals and the banking stocks continue to reel under pressure. So the Nifty Metals Index is down nearly 2% in trade. Very quickly then, which are the gainers from the broader markets? You've got Orissa Mine, stocks like Safari and RBL Bank, which are doing well, whereas on the losing side, Piramal Enterprises continues to witness relentless selling pressure. The stock was down 20% in the month of September, and today it's down 6%. United Spirits and Edelweiss are a couple of other stocks, Alex, which are trading in the red.
All right, that's the state of the market as we stand right now. Let's get our two experts in for the day. We've got Ashish Kelkar of Kiran, Jadhav and Associates and Sandeep Jain of Tradeswift Broking, both of them here to answer all of your questions. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. I do want to start with the technical picks that Ashish has sent us. He's got two for you. The first one is a buy call on ICICI Pru with a target of 480 and a stop loss on this trade of 466. That will come up on your screen right now. Just about 0.9% gain in today's session, trading above that 470 mark. The second one is a buy call on L&T with a target of 1,482. Stock is trading just under 0.5% higher at 1,470. The stop loss on this trade is 1,455. Sandeep, before we move on to individual queries, we've got, as it happens, one query from Ravi Chandran where he's asking for fundamental picks, and I think normally we ask you as well. It's a little hard in the current circumstances perhaps to give calls. We've got a few experts who are advising caution at this stage, but would you have fundamental picks that you can give our viewers today?
Oh yes, certainly. As you said rightly, it's very difficult to give fundamental picks generally in these kind of scenario, but still we are bullish about the market on decline. Somehow I feel that 11,200, 11,250 can be a good range where the markets can take a support, and the kind of initiatives the government has actually announced, and maybe we are expecting some more for on the individual front also, for that can boost up the consumption levels also, the demand side also. So let's see what happens, but still I'll be a bit optimistic about some good quality stocks and where there are no debts and all. So I feel one can certainly look at the logistics stocks also, because there will be some good announcements relating to the sector in the evening. So I think VRL Logistics can be a good bet. Then All Cargo Logistics is again a good bet, where the downside is maximum 90 to 95 rupees, and somewhere it's trading around 100 and 105 range. So I think these two stocks can be looked at from those aspects. And otherwise IOC and HPCL, because BPCL has given a very huge rally because of that disinvestment, strategic disinvestment news. So I think, these stocks might also catch up, and they are actually performing well also in these kind of choppy markets where the VIX is so high, as you rightly said at the beginning of the show only. So I think IOC, BPCL, HPCL, and then VRL Logistics, some logistics stocks. And then one can look at some good quality stocks like, say, Abbott Laboratories or Alchem Lab or some good pharma names. Yeah.
All right, so those are some fundamental picks coming in from Sandeep. Remember, for the oil marketing companies, Morgan Stanley has also come out with a report where they've stated if the government actually divests stake in BPCL to a global player, that could lead to re-rating of the sector. And they do have overweight rating for these three oil marketing companies, and all three of them are trading in the positive territory. Let's move on and start addressing our viewer queries. I'm going to take Escorts first, which has come from Aditya Singh. He's bought 1,000 shares of the company at a price of 542, and his time horizon is short term. What he wants to know whether he should look to hold on this position or he should look to book profits, because the current market price of Escorts is above his buy price, so very close to the mark of 600 right now. Ashish, what would you advise him to do considering the volatility? Should he be looking at booking profits, or he should just put a stop loss?
Good afternoon, Navneet. If we look at the overall chart structure, it is still bullish. The stock rallied from a level of around 500 to a level of around 650, and now it is consolidating. And generally, this is what happens in the up flag formation, and that is what is exactly happening on the chart. So there is a probability of having a breakout on the higher side. That's the reason why I would recommend him to hold on. Now, when he is holding on to the stock, an important level for this stock is to watch out for is 570. If the price goes below 570, then this will be a breakout of the bearish wedge, which will have a bearish implication. But till the time the stock is above 570, definitely hold on and trail your stop loss. If the price goes above 615, that will be a fresh breakout, and in that case, the target would be 645. So hold on with a strict stop loss of 570.
Okay, we've got a question on YouTube from Shell, who's asking about Phillips Carbon Black, which he bought at levels of 180. The stock has given up those levels. It's currently trading around 115. A while back, Sandeep, this is one of the stocks that we used to talk about quite actively because of the kind of gains that it saw very suddenly. How are you rating this in the context of well, the global policies, I think, that dictate its movement?
Somehow it has given a huge correction from the higher levels, and then he has entered at a very huge level also. From there, I think it went up also. But then, looking at the fundamentals, somehow I feel that he can stay hold in it, and he can continue holding it, because somehow growth side and all those fundamentals and the dividend yield and the pedigree also, all these things are not to be worried about. So I think he can continue holding the stock.
All right, continue holding. Phillips Carbon is the advice coming in from Sandeep. Ayush Gupta has a query on Delta Corp, and he's been holding this stock at 185. The current price is somewhere about 150 thereabouts. He wants a fundamental view from a longer term time horizon. So Sandeep, I'm going to come back to you. Delta Corp, if somebody is bought around the levels of 185, what are the growth prospects for this company? Should he be staying put here?
See, very frankly, since he has bought this at 185 levels, and see, the story was very fantastic, and the tourism related stories are not there also in the markets. Now IRCTC will get listed, Cox and Kings and Thomas Cook, all those names were there. But somehow Delta Corp, the business is a different kind of business altogether. And I feel that, somehow one should not stay invested in this particular company from longer time frame. And I think 185 is one level, which can be achieved once the markets are again into good mood, and if there is a bounce in a particular day. And this particular stock is a very high beta stock, and it gives a very huge bounce the way it is down today by say around 5%. So there will be one day when it can be up by say 15%, 10%. So that will be a day when I think he should exit, since he is holding for a long term. But still I feel that he should get his investment into some other stocks like say ITC and all, rather than be invested in Delta Corp.
I'm coming back to you, Sandeep, and I also want to get a view from Ashish on this counter, because it's been extremely volatile over the last few days, perhaps more so on account of the news flow. We're talking about Yes Bank, of course, and the sharp correction that we saw a day before yesterday was, as it turns out, on account of the invocation of a pledge on shares by Reliance Nippon Asset Management. Let's talk about this counter, Sandeep, just a bit, because we've got queries coming in left, right and center on this. We're seeing a bounce today. How do you rate it? We see a senior management exit today as well.
So it's a very tough question though, but then somehow I feel that, 30 rupees should be a stop loss, because see, generally we don't talk about stop losses when we talk about fundamental analysis, but when you talk about these kind of stocks, which are extremely volatile because of the extreme flow of news in the stock. So I think one has to be very cautious while trading in this stock. There are so many queries on Twitter also, people asking me on my handle also, or say WhatsApp or other social media. People are actually being stuck up. So, those who are already stuck up, I feel that, they should stay invested. They should continue, stay put, and they should continue hold the stock, because I feel that there may be some bounce being witnessed in the stock, because, all the bad news, be it the pledge shares being, sold, or be it the promoters getting exit. So I think, the management somehow is a quality management now under the leadership of Mr. Gill. So let's see what happens. And there are so many things which might crop up also in the future. So it has to be very dynamic. Even the advice has to be very dynamic, because you cannot predict the news flows as on date. So it is not a buy from my side, but those who are holding it, they can stay put and continue hold it and wait for some bounce, and let's see what happens after that.
Ashish, is there anything that you can tell us from what you see on the charts?
Definitely, Alex. The stock is consistently making lower tops and lower bottoms. So it is a stock, if someone is holding, you definitely get out when there is a bounce back. And currently that is what we are seeing on the chart. Now, currently the stock is trading at around 39.75. The stock has potential to go up to around 42.5 odd levels. So if someone is holding, hold on, trail your stop loss, and when investor gets the value around 42.5, 43 odd levels, then get exit from this stock is what I would recommend by looking at the technicals.
Okay, that's Yes Bank, which is recovered today after a massive fall. But remember, it continues to be a beaten down stock. On YTD basis, the stock's down about nearly 75 to 80%. Let's move on and take a query on IDFC First Bank. Ashish, I'm going to come back to you. Riddhi Shah wants a 6-month view on the charts for IDFC First Bank. And I think today it's down for the third or the fourth straight session. Would you advise taking any position here?
No, basically, I would recommend by looking at the chart structure. Still, I believe that it is in no trading zone, because it has corrected and it has recovered from the level of around 36.5, 36 odd levels. So yes, there can be a little bit further bounce back and the price can go up to 39. But overall chart structure is telling me to stay away from this counter.
All right, let's talk about IRCTC, where, as you know, the IPO was open. It was oversubscribed from what I can see by 3.64 times on the last day of bidding. We've got Janmajay, who's looking for a view on IRCTC. Now that the offer is closed, Sandeep, what would you suggest? Because generally you see on listing you have gains. Should a potential investor or someone who's looking to make a fresh entry wait for a bit for the dust to settle?
The IRCTC, I think today is the last day for subscribing, and it's already, a fantastic IPO, one of the best IPOs of the recent times. And after a long dry spell, it's a very good IPO from the Railway Ministry. And I feel that, as I talked about a little while ago also, that, in tourism sector, you don't get these kind of quality stocks. And the best part is, this company is an online company, and the way digitalization or the online business is growing, and the government is also very focused on it, and the kind of hits the company's website has, and the company is also into catering, also into tour packages and traveling also. So I feel, it's a fantastic company, fantastic package of businesses, and then it is also into the mineral water business, Rail Neer, which is a very common brand, in fact, on the railway stations. So somehow, and the grey market premiums, as we can see on the websites, they are as high as 190, 200 rupees. So, and then the COSTAC rates of applications are also very attractive. So all those things really make it a very good subscription candidate. And we have aggressively, in fact, recommended to our clients to subscribe to the IPO through all their family accounts. So it's a great IPO, and those who gets the allotment, those lucky ones, should may book a profit also, because it will be a windfall kind of gain when the listing will happen, and otherwise they can continue holding the stock also. I'm very bullish about the whole business prospect in the long run also.
Okay, that's the view on IRCTC IPO. The next query comes in on RBL Bank, and this one's coming in from Rahul Vesh. He's bought 1,000 shares of RBL Bank at 580, and I think he's got a long-term horizon here. But what he wants to know is actually on the technicals. Should he look to average the stock at current levels? Ashish, considering the relentless selling pressure we've seen, barring today, the last 3 sessions, the stock's corrected a lot. Do you think somebody should look to average if they want to hold on to this position, or they should wait it out?
Navneet, I would recommend the investor to not to average at these current levels, because if we look at the yesterday's or the previous trading session candle formation, the low it made at around 257. Currently, the stock is trading at around 314 odd levels. The chart is suggesting the further downside is still open. So if somebody goes and average it at the current levels, then there can be a further the loss which can be seen in the portfolio. So I would not recommend to go ahead and buy immediately. I would recommend to wait, let the price come down to around 275 and 215. This band, this will be the right price to average the stock. So as of now, I would not recommend to average.
Right, that's the view on RBL Bank. We've got Akash Agarwal, who's looking for a fundamental view on Thomas Cook. Sandeep, coming to you on this one. Obviously, the stock took quite the beating when Thomas Cook International went into bankruptcy proceedings. Of course, it has no relation to this counter or this company. So people have really gotten a bit frightened by that news. Perhaps it's recovered somewhat. How do you rate the fundamentals?
See, somehow I won't recommend someone to invest into the stock, though there is no connection between the international ownership and the local ownership, because there is a big time PE investor called Fairfax Holdings. Prem Vatsa, the Warren Buffett of Canada, is invested in the company. So that's a different story altogether. But still, if I have to be invested in the tourism sector now of India, so I feel that IRCTC will be a very good candidate post-listing. Maybe the listing will be very high. I feel that, the IPO is coming at around say 320 odd levels. So it can get listed at around 500 levels also. So one should wait for some dips at those times and then enter into the stock. Otherwise, I feel that, I won't recommend to enter into the stock at these levels also.
All right. So Sandeep's betting on IRCTC. Let's see how the listing pans out, though the subscriptions so far are looking encouraging. The next query is on Tata Motors, and this one comes in from Utkarsh Arora. He's bought the stock at 450. He's suggesting that he's averaged 25% at every dip of 10%, and he's lost majority of the capital. He wants to know what to do at current levels. Also, he's asking, does at current price of Tata Motors, is somebody getting the JLR business for free? And Sandeep, this is a question which, a lot of analysts who have been talking the way the stock's corrected. Of course, today there is some short covering bounce that we're seeing, and this is a company which is facing headwinds both in domestic as well as international market. We've got slowdown in India, and its UK arm, that's the JLR business, is also not doing well considering the slowdown that we've seen in China. What would you advise someone who's already lost majority of their capital in Tata Motors?
See, this is one question I think I must have answered more than say 50 times in this particular show only. And somehow Tata Motors, I'm very skeptic about the future prospects also. Though they might be doing a bit well in the international markets, but then Brexit issues and then the local sales also have not been picking up the way the monthly numbers were out. I think they were not at all good. And then the kind of debts the company is going to raise in the books. So I don't think it does not augur well, in the long run for the company. And I feel today is a good bounce though, and somehow it might take a more of bounce 140, 150 levels. But since it is 450 levels at which the investor has invested, so I think, averaging will not be suggested, and one should try to exit on bounce and try to switch to Maruti rather, because that stock has also corrected 40 to 50% from its highs. So some of the losses, if one has to recover from this particular sector only, then I think Maruti switching might help in the long run.
Okay, Shalom, we've actually taken a view on IDFC First. In case you've missed it, Sandeep did give his view on it. It's time to hit the rapid fire segment. This is where we fit as many queries as possible in a span of 2 minutes. So quick request to both our experts to keep their answers as short as possible. Ashish, do you have enough to go on with regard to RVNL? We've got Satya Subhash who's looking for a 6-month view. It's only been listed since April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the current price is very good to buy. Go ahead and buy this particular counter. Stop loss should be 22 and the first target would be 26, second target would be 27.
Ashish, what are the levels you'll watch out on Bank Nifty considering today is the weekly options expiry?
We are expecting the Bank Nifty to expire between 28,500 and 28,250.
Okay, Sandeep, a couple of banking names, IndusInd Bank and HDFC, not the bank. For a 1-year perspective on the fundamentals, would you buy? It's seen certain amount of correction in the recent past. HDFC, I mean.
I feel that, HDFC Limited is a good buy in the long run and in the short run also. One should try to buy on all declines, HDFC Limited. Yeah.
Not IndusInd Bank?
No, I won't go with IndusInd Bank.
Okay, Ashish, would you recommend averaging into ITC? Naveen's bought 80 shares at 268.
Definitely, averaging should be done about 265 only because that will be a fresh breakout with a target of 278. I have a strict stop loss of 255.
Sandeep, which would you pick? Consumption, that is FMCG versus financials, which are a bit under pressure in today's session, but how do you rate on the fundamentals?
I think I'll be more comfortable with consumption and ITC, Dabur, Marico, even HUL, all these stocks are on my buying radar. Yeah.
Sandeep, which one do you prefer, Motherson Sumi or Bharat Forge for long term?
None of them.
Okay, I'll take one of this. Ashish, between HDFC Life and ICICI Pru, suggest one, and is this the correct time to buy?
I'll go with ICICI Pru because currently it is giving us a breakout of ascending triangle pattern formation with a good target. So definitely I'll go with ICICI Pru.
All right, well, that's all the time that we have on this edition of Ask BQ. I thank both our guests, Ashish and Sandeep, for all the answers that you gave our viewers today.
Remember, we're just a tweet, post or a call away, so please keep your queries coming and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all previous episodes, visit our YouTube channel or our website BloombergQuint.com. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.